Good afternoon. A couple of new additions to my North Eastern Railway fleet. As you can see, we have a locomotive and a coach. We'll take a quick look at the pair of them, see what you think. So the coach is a brake third coach. It's a D&S models coach. Don't know much about D&S models, but this is a very, very high quality model. It's brass, all metal construction, some white metal, separately fitted parts, but the whole chassis, bogies, roof in my case is brass. I got it as a second-hand model. It was half built. I ended up having to disassemble the bogies because they were built wrongly, and then the sides were half built in terms of they had the handles and other things fitted to them, but I had to fit both left and right hand sides and the ends together to make the body. Like I say, I reassembled the bogies. The chassis was the basic floor pan of the chassis was there, but all of the underframe detail had to be fitted, buffers. But it's come together rather well, actually. The only trouble I had with it was the roof was missing. So I've scratch built a roof from a bit of brass, very thin brass sheet. And it's held on by magnets. So we can do that. That lifts off, which I'm quite pleased with. It's got light fitted in underneath as well. And the battery housing is in the guards end of the coach. It is an absolutely stunning model. Just lots and lots of separate little bits and bobs to make it the detail that it is. It's the first brass kit build model that I have in my collection, I think. I've done a few kit built locomotives, but they've been white metal. There was if you look at one of the other videos, the North Eastern Railway T class, or LNER Q6 as it was, the new cast model. I had to use brass in that a little bit. There was a piece missing off the tender, which has got a brass part to the chassis, and I scratch built a brass chassis from brass plate for that. But this is the first complete model I've done in brass, and I have to say I'm very impressed. It's my first D&S models coach. The model number is DS197. It's representing a North Eastern Railway diagram 113 brake third. There were also matching coaches which were diagram 111 thirds. So they would have made up a train of coaches with the matchboard sides. They date from 1905. I would love to get my hands on the accompanying diagram 111 thirds, but for now I've got this as a one-off, the diagram 113. I'm very pleased with it. I'm hoping, because I've also got some of the Rapido coaches, the Rapido Evolution coaches, and I'm hoping it might be a good match with those. The only thing that I'm not too fussed about is, prototypically, they had torpedo vents and lights on the roof painted black, although the roof is white. I'm not sure I like that. I might change the colour of that. But it depends what I run it with and how it matches up. If I can get some of the straight diagram thirds from D&S models, if I can find one second hand, I can run it with its sort of matched up coaching, then I'll leave as is. But we'll see. I haven't said that from now. I'm pretty chuffed with the way it's come together. So that's the coach. Let's look at the locomotive. The North Eastern Railway R1. I found this locomotive in a auction one of three. The other two were A3s, LNER A3s. I've sold those. They weren't really what I was after. I've already got a couple of A3s in my collection. So the other two went the journey, but I kept this one because this is, well, it has to be said, a very rare model. I recognised it as an R1. I have no idea when I bought it who it was made by or what its history was. What I've been able to discover is I think it's a GEM kit, G-E-M kit of an R1. Dates from late 70s. It's a white metal kit. It's got its own chassis. It's got a 5-pole XO3, XO4 type style of motor, open frame motor, but it is a 5-pole motor, so possibly an Airfix, but it doesn't even look like an Airfix. However, it runs pretty well, so I might leave it as is for now. There's always the alternative of people like Peter Spares do a 5-pole can motor that is a replacement for an XO3, XO4, and I'm pretty sure that one of them would slot in here. I could actually take all that gubbins out and fit a high-level gearbox and a coreless motor, and that would make it run a lot quieter. As is typical of an XO4, XO3 style locomotive, it's a pretty noisy bugger, this thing. But it is lovely. It is absolutely gorgeous. When I got it, it was in LNER livery. It had been, I'm guessing, hand-painted, and possibly hand-painted about 4 times or 5 times because it was just thick with paint. You'd lost all the detail. The handrails were nearly moulded to the side of the boiler. Certainly the pipework running down the side of the boiler was all one piece because it was just that full of paint. And it lost a lot of its detail. As you see it now, I just stripped it all back, dipped and stripped the body, the tender, removed all the handrails. I dipped it in meths and left it in meths for several hours to get all the thick paint off. It took a while to get it off, but it managed to come off. It had been an araldited or glued model, so some of it fell apart, but I've soldered it back together quite happily, wasn't a problem. And it's obviously from a bare metal respray back up, it's now looking as you see it, and I'm really chuffed with the way it's turned out. Considering what it looked like before I started, it's a wholesale improvement. Having said that, when you look at it, I think the kit originally was pretty good. The only extras over and above what was the locomotive that I've put on there is 3-link chain coupling on the front, plus the vacuum pipe on the front. There's a couple of tools on top of the coal. The coal is all, and the tender's all my coal. It was coal in there before, but it was all a bit ropey, and that went in the bin. So fresh coal load after the dip and strip paint job. But all the handrails and things, they went all back on. They came out when I dipped and stripped, as did the air pump on the side of the smoke box. The buffers on the front are sprung. I don't know if that's originally part of the kit, but I think that's quite a nice addition. The rear bumpers are just moulded. But it's a Northeastern Railway Locomotive Express, an R1 from the early 1900s. It was derived from the classic Northeastern Railway Class R, which is a Victorian locomotive, but this has got the boiler, big boiler from one of the first Atlantics that the Northeastern Railway did to make a big 4-4-row locomotive. Anyway, there it is. I think we'll get it running. Give you a little view of it running around the track. Okay. as you can hear, it's quite noisy.
And the T-class has a habit of getting in the way.